Hi, my name is Rebecca, and I would like to talk about Tangible Orchestra, which is an interactive light and music installation. We're working on it this year for more than 8 months before we exhibited for the first time in August this year. Quickly about our background. Picaroon is founded by Sebastian and myself, and we work together with a bunch of musicians, composers, and engineers in order to create interactive installations. Sebastian is originally a game designer, while I'm interactive artist. So when we create an interactive installation, we see it as being a game where you have to define certain rules which people have to understand in order to be able to interact with your artwork and be able to enjoy it. When we started to work on Tangible Orchestra, we had like the basic idea of creating an orchestra where you can walk through, like an electronic orchestra where each instrument comes from another location, so that you can really walk through this orchestra. So you see here we have the 7 cylinders, and each cylinder, when activated, plays another instrument, which means by walking through the installation, you can alter your musical experience. Because let's say you're standing next to the drums, then the drums are more prominent than all the other instruments. But when you walk to another instrument, then your whole musical experience change in a way. So we wanted to create something which is very similar to the experience you have when you're listening to a real orchestra. And the second idea we had was to create an artwork where people actually need to come together in order to create a more interesting outcome. So the cylinders are interactive, which means they have sensors and they detect whether or not someone is standing next to a cylinder. And if there is no one at this space, then you won't hear anything, there is no light. And as soon as one person comes and stands next to one cylinder, one instrument starts to play, and the light inside of the cylinder starts to blink in the rhythm of the instrument, which means if another person comes going to another cylinder, a second instrument joins in. So the more people come together, the more interesting the musical outcome gets. This was like a first prototype of Tangible Orchestra. Thanks. So the idea was not only that you can change your own musical experience by walking in between the cylinders, but also the people altogether can change the musical outcome by switching on or off the different instruments. So how the whole thing works is we used proximity sensors. So we had 16 ultrasonic sensors in each cylinder, on the top of each cylinder. And we have a board with a microprocessor controlling the 16 ultrasonic sensors, and he gives a signal, yes or no, someone is detected or not, to an Arduino Mega, and the Arduino communicates with the computer. We have one speaker in each cylinder, so that it's possible that each instrument, like the source of the instrument, comes really from another location. And we used 3D printing for the whole silver structure, which you can see here, because it was really hard to find the right, the right size of the holes. You see the holes in the silver structure. When they were too small, there was not enough sound coming out, and when they were too large, it was just not really stable or not really nice. And the lighting concept, the thing you saw in the video there, we had just one LED blinking in the rhythm of the instrument, but that caused problem because when a person stepped next to a cylinder in a moment where the instrument was pausing, so it was not playing in this moment, and the light wasn't switching on because there was no instrument. So the person thought the technology is not working and walked away. So what we did, we applied another light stripe, which you see at the bottom of the cylinder, which indicates only whether or not it is activated. So it's not blinking, it's just either on or off. So how the lighting thing worked, we used a multi-socket and we manipulated it in a way that we can control the plugs with the Arduino. So we have this 5-volt output from the Arduino and transform it in the plug into a 230-volt output. And the same thing, we built this transformer. You can see the black box, which transforms the 5-volt Arduino output into a 12-volt output for the LED stripes. We really like, if we are about to finish an interactive artwork, we really like to present it in public space, because this is a place where you really get honest feedback. When people go to a museum, they pay entrance fees, they are prepared to see art, so they are willing to spend their time there in order to understand your artwork. But in public space, they are not prepared, they are not expecting any artwork or anything, so it is really hard, it's really good to get honest feedback to see, is it clear, are the rules of the interactive artwork clear, do people understand how they can actually interact with it? So this is what we always tend to do when we finish some artwork. So here, for instance, you see this, the girl in the white pullover, she understood already how it works, she told her friends how it's working, and now they start to play with it. And after a while, we were just, oh no. I was supposed to show you only parts of this video. So after a while, more and more people came to our installation and they realized how it's working, so they more or less joined in and played together. Okay, this is the part I showed you already. So one thing we really like about interactive art, but it's also the most challenging thing, is that the human and human interaction is like the main element of interactive art, which means you cannot sit in your studio and finish the outcome of the installation, because the most important element is missing. So you can only make assumption of how you think people will react when they come to your artwork, but you can never be sure. And very often the interaction or the reaction of people is depending on the city, on the country, on the location. So it's very hard to create an artwork which works everywhere. So for Tangible Orchestra, at the first point, we haven't had a platform. We just had the cylinders and the cables lying around. But after some time, we decided that we want to have a platform. We applied a theory from the game design, which is called the magic circle, which says that within a magic circle with a certain border, there are certain rules applied. So everyone who's crossing this border is in some way connected with all the other people within this border. So we had this platform hoping that those people are in a way getting connected and they work together on the musical outcome. And we went to a museum exhibiting it there, and it worked really well, the way we thought it would work. But then we went to an event in London, and you can't really see it on the photo, but people were really afraid of the platform. They thought it's like some sort of stage, and many people did not dare to step on it. So this is the thing about interactive art. You never know the outcome. It's the same thing about the interaction design. We were working with the proximity sensors because we thought it is very intuitive if someone just needs to step close to a cylinder and activates the cylinder already. So he can just wander through the installation and enjoying the music. But what almost everyone did was touch the top. So probably people are just too used to touch screens, or I don't know. So I think the next time we would probably make the cylinders just touch sensitive. That would make more sense. And another thing is about the unexpected outcome. When we were in the show in London, suddenly there came a guy with an instrument, and he was walking through our installation and playing the instrument, but very well to the music he was creating with our installation. So yeah, this is the thing. Yeah, what I love about interactive art. Even if you're the artist and you were working on it for many, many months, you still never know what the outcome will be. Thank you.
Thank you, Rebecca, Gischel, and Tangible Orchestra.